Hi there, didn't see you. I'm Ben Chuck, ex-founder of the now-defunct BenCo brand home video. After the complete and utter collapse of society, it's my job to inform anyone who's still alive why it happened and how we could have prevented it. Come on, let's go. To first tackle the end times, we gotta ask ourselves a pretty big question. What was so powerful that it was able to dig a grave for civilization and kick it right in? Well, the question is simple. The answer is, the short of it, we did this. To answer everything, I'll use the help of my green screen-o-matic over here. You see, we used to live in relative comfort.
We used the remains of creatures that had died millions of years ago to power our lives. Our vehicles, generators, entire infrastructure was dependent on these hydrocarbons. In fact, in 2015, America had 81.5% of its energy derived from fossil fuels. You may be asking, what in the world went wrong with such a wonderfully useful product? Well, I'll tell you. You see, since these fossil fuels take a few million years to be converted from dead organisms to a viable fuel source, they aren't exactly reusable. With time, our dependency on a limited resource would hit a brick wall. And that's exactly what it did. Around the year 2069, we ran out of fossil fuels. All the gas, coal, and petroleum reserves were slurped up by an ever-growing demand. That wasn't the only bad thing about fossil fuels. Notice how I had to wear that dust mask of mine outside? The air is toxic. Years of pollutants filling the atmosphere run amok.
Let's take a sample. There. I got it. Let's put this inside of my Scannertron 9000. Ah, there it is. Just as I suspected. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and lead. That's not good. You see, these substances are host to a wide array of very damaging side effects, not only on us humans, but the ecosystem around us.
You see, due to the highly toxic nature of these chemicals, the flora and fauna exposed end up dying. Excessive exposure, and we start having a real problem. Ecosystems dying completely off. Sadly, those aren't the only side effects. Carbon has a wonderful property of trapping heat from the sun in our atmosphere by absorbing it and then redirecting it back to Earth. After years of a net increase of carbon-based gases, the climate of the Earth itself begins to increase in temperature. Here's a quote from NASA.gov. Since around the time of the Industrial Revolution, Earth's atmosphere has warmed up by just around 1 degree Celsius. The ocean has risen by 6 inches in the past 100 years as a result. Even a small increase in temperature can knock things completely out of whack. Species that have evolved to a relatively consistent environment would begin dying off. Like a house of cards, the removal of a section would damage the entire structure. One example would be the life inhabiting our oceans. Due to the pollutants that would seep into the water, the coral reefs would begin dying off from the high acidity, in turn removing the homes for many fish and the steady food source for around 500 million people. I think it's time we go in the field. These extraction sites are home to a swamp of toxic metals and waste. Slurries of death gush forth in these rivers of greed. The very act of even gathering these materials would pollute. Every process involved with fossil fuels creates a dangerous addition to the atmosphere. You may be wondering, what could we have done to have prevented this? I'll tell you.
Welcome to the world of photovoltaics. These big blue mirror thingies over here, they are solar panels. They convert the sun's solar rays into electricity. They're wonderful because they are renewable, and the energy source is essentially limitless because the human lifespan back in the day was around 80 years. Now it's 34. There are some downsides though. The sun doesn't shine all the time, around half the day, and a lot of people in the past weren't really keen on shifting from their fossil fuel-based lives to go with this newfangled technology. Follow me. You see, there are other kinds of renewable resources. We have hydroelectric dams which turn the kinetic energy from water into electricity. We have wind turbines which turn the kinetic energy from the wind into electricity. The thing about wind turbines is the wind doesn't always blow, much like the sun doesn't always shine. You see, there are so many different things that we can implement to allow us to have cleaner energy, but there are always going to be downsides. What we really should be focusing on is implementing those, but also changing lifestyles. I mean, that's what I should have said in the past, but look at us now. Oh, darn. Looks like a dust storm's picking up. I think we should go back to the shelter. Oh, crap.
Continuing on from what I was talking about before, what exactly are the lifestyle changes we could have done to have prevented this alongside using renewable resources or energy sources? Well, it's a multitude of things. We should have tried to reduce wasting whatever fossil fuels we had. Instead of turning the heat up, people should have worn a blanket or extra coat. Should have left on their entertainment system, especially those Nintendos, really slurped up the electricity. Excess usage of power was just wasteful and adding more carbon into the atmosphere because all of our energy was coming from fossil fuels. We should have also planted more trees. They balance things out by recycling the carbon and releasing oxygen. We do the opposite. In case you didn't notice, but outside my shelter it isn't a complete wasteland. Nature adapts, but over time, and in this case, needs a little assistance. Helping out by planting trees to compensate for the ones we cut down would have helped a lot if people had done it. But you know what happened? Everyone waited for the next person to do it. Lastly, we should have stopped being so greedy. As a species, we want to expand our influence, but didn't look back to what we were doing to the very planet that birthed us. If we ever get another chance, we should try to reduce what we were taking from our planet and what crap we were giving back. Thanks to anyone who was alive to watch this. I hope you learned something new about why the end of the world occurred and you feel bad for letting it happen. I'm Ben Chuck, and I'm out.